And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you're listening. It's April 17th, 2026. What a week. Lots to talk about. Hope you have a very good weekend going forward. In case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. The markets, the economy, your job, your industry, the Strait of Hormuz, war, tariffs, all kinds of crap. We'll do it all. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we will post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. And if you don't follow us on X, you should just put our name in. If you'd like to email us, just be nice. We'll also post it on the BizTV YouTube channel. So, eventful day today. And as usual, we're going to tell you what happened without any agenda, ulterior motive, or bias, because both sides continue to lie to you because they don't care about you. They will say, one side will say things are great when they're not. The other side will say things are terrible when they aren't. We're going to first talk outcome. Because frankly, that's all we really care about. What's the outcome? And then we'll backtrack. Well, the outcome as of this second, it looks like the strait is going to be open, pending everybody being happy. And when I say pending everybody being happy, I guess you got to come to some happiness to get there. You do what we want, we do what you want. The outcome of that today was oil prices were down a big juicy, I think, $8. At one time it was down 10 or 11 on that. Outcome, as you know, just go to the gas pump. So a big drop in oil will get the gas pump price coming down markedly, of course, if it stays down. Outcome. Do I need to go further on outcomes? Isn't that what we most care about? Outcome? They already had a ceasefire, so we're told. The economic outcome is oil prices are coming down. And of course, with that outcome, we had a big gap to the upside today. You know, at one time, I believe the Dow was up 1,200, finished up 868. I think the NASDAQ was up like 420, 430, finished up 365. Anything that benefits the most from a crash in oil prices had a good day. Outcome. What would benefit from a crash in oil prices? Airlines had a good day. Cruise lines had a good day. Anything really travel related, hotels had a good day. Anything transporting had a good day. Economically sensitive. Why would that be? Well, in the economically sensitive world, they use up a lot of petroleum. Had a good day. Discretionary had a good day. Why would discretionary do good? Well, if you have more money in your pocket, what would you tend to do? Spend. So restaurants had a good day. Retail had a good day. Catching the drift. Outcome. Simple as that. Now, let's talk positives and negatives, because they're all out BSing you. Number one, oil prices were way down before the war. We're just going back, hopefully, where we were. And by the way, the USO closed at 116 today. It was at 80, so it's still elevated, but on its way down. So what did we do this for? That's number one. Number two, the Strait of Hormuz was open before the war. So why did we go in if now it's just going to be open again? Now, you can also talk about the war, and there are people killed on both sides. There was a lot of destruction. I don't know if you know, but we had some bases destroyed over there. We had a lot of machinery destroyed also, in case you didn't know. Of course, our military beat the living crap out of them. But there's a big question. What did we do this for? That's a valid question. Oh, to stop their nuclear. But a valid question is, we were told by the president we obliterated their nuclear. So why? And then right before the war, he said, oh, we had 2 weeks before they'd have nuclear. So you never know. Then there's the other part. He's trying to negotiate a deal to stop Iran from producing a nuclear weapon. There's talk in exchange of $20 billion in Iranian assets becoming unfrozen. Obama's agreement didn't even do that. Trump tore up the agreement, spent $55 billion on a war, hundreds of Americans injured, some dead over there, got exploding oil prices, they're still elevated. Aren't these good questions? Because the president's out there, we won. And I'm a big believer in asking, what did we win? Well, we're being told Iran now will not do nuclear. And the president said they are going to give up whatever nuclear material they have. Iran has already come out and said, no, we're not. We never agreed to that. What the hell is he talking about? So what? Very good questions. So he's going to say we won. They're going to say we won. And I'm just a big believer in outcome. Well, let me compliment the president. The only way we got here was the blockade. The blockade really was killing Iran. Why? China gets a ton of their oil from them. And I can guarantee you, without evidence, China was yelling and screaming at Iran, you're killing us. So we think that did it. So big compliments to the administration of using that tactic, because before that day, their tactics, in my opinion, were terrible. In fact, changing their stance every 3 hours. But outcome. So the strait opens back up. It was open. Any of you think Iran's going to stop nuclear? Of course not. Any of you think Iran's going to stop being a proxy for terror? Of course not. They're terrorists. So I sit here in wonderment, why the hell did we do this? While the president celebrates. I'm letting you know I'm a student of this. They're not going to stop nuclear. And they're not going to stop being a proxy for terror. The other part of the equation is Israel and Lebanon. In other words, Hezbollah, another terrorist group. As I have told you, first time I was in Israel, 6 times in bomb shelters because Hezbollah was lobbing missiles into the middle of Tel Aviv over my head while the Iron Dome took it out. And as I said to you, the military, I spoke to them, why aren't you attacking them back? And you know what they said? Oh, because it's not so bad. We'll wait till it gets really bad. Then we'll go after them. What? They're lobbing missiles on you. That's not going to change. So assume I'm correct, and if I'm correct, you got to believe the administration knows that Iran is going to continue with nuclear. They're not going to let any inspectors in there. Iran's going to continue to be a proxy for terror because they're terrorists. Hezbollah is going to stand down for now, but in the next 2, 3, 4 months, we'll start doing it again. If the administration knows that, why would they do this? It's simple. Economics. We'll put a bow tie on it up next. Oh, the 2 E's, economics and elections. Up next on Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. It's simple. Both parties, quagmire, entanglements, morass. Both parties want it out. One because of 2 E's, one because of 1 E. Iran had to get out because of the economics. They had to get out. Let's just get out, and we'll worry about it later. And as far as the president, the economics and the election. In case you don't know, the Republicans are getting mauled. I don't know if you know, but there's been special elections and small elections around the country. They won, I believe, a seat where Trump won by 34 points. The special election only won by 11. Besides that, everything's Democrat. And even in Republican strongholds, elections. Tied into that, economics. You can't go on TV and say, prices down, affordability, and this, that, and the other thing. When you're going to the gas pump and you're paying $1.30 a gallon more than you were before the war, you're getting the blame. Nobody else. And if you're getting the blame, your party's arse is grass come November. By the way, they're still probably going to lose anyhow. Well, I think they may keep the Senate, but the House is gone. And the poll numbers, besides what Trump says, his poll numbers are a horror show. And as I have told you, he's lost independents. He's lost Hispanics. I think in Florida, he's lost Hispanics, but not as bad across the country. And that's what won him the election. Oh, and he's lost the young. And of course, there's other reasons for that. So one side, economics, the other side, economics and elections. But I'm back to the point, the outcome. It really is a good question. So what did we do this for? You told us they had no nuclear, that you obliterated. So what did we do it for? The strait was open before, so now it's open again, and you're saying, look, we won. Outcome. But I digress. If it's over, I'm just happy. I don't want our military over there. I don't want any more dead soldiers. I don't want any injured soldiers. I want oil prices back down. I don't want to have to deal with this crap anymore. So thankfully, somebody, if it was the president, terrific. If it was an advisor, terrific. Somebody came up with the blockade that forced the other side's hand, because I got news for you. If not for the blockade, this ain't happening. Iran was controlling the strait. Now, I must tell you, late news is Iran is coming out and like, we're not so sure we agreed to that. And of course, as you know, the president embellished. He's famous for that. So we'll find out over the weekend or next few days whether he's making some things up. One of them was, he stated that Iran has agreed to never, ever, ever again go to nuclear. And Iran came out and said, no, we didn't. So we'll see. But outcome, oil prices down, well, looks $8 today. And the Dow up 868, NASDAQ up 84, NASDAQ 100 365, NASDAQ 365, NASDAQ 100 339, Russell 2000 more than 2%, mid-caps more than 2%, and the benefactors of lower oil that were getting hit because of higher oil got jammed today to the upside on another big gap. And I've been asked many times today, isn't the market overbought? Isn't it stretched and extended to the upside? What do you think? Yeah, you're darn right it is, but you know what? We have these news events that have massive changes that influence. We had it last year. Just remember, we went from overnight 100 to 150% taxes on imports to none. Overnight. We went from the markets crashing to 2,500 points in 15 minutes and a bottom in the market. We're now doing it again, but with a different subject. And that is, forget war. I don't really think it was a war. We were beating the living crap out of them. Let's call it quasi-war. Oil prices. Spike up, market down. Spike down, market up. And that's what happened today. And it's meaningful. And I have to tell you, the market stretched, extended, overbought. Big dose of bullishness now. Everybody happy. Typically you get pullbacks. But I could have said that 3 days ago, and then you had more big news today. So what happens today? Well, with the big indices into new yearly high ground, that means more stocks new yearly high ground. Oil prices tank, as I said to you. Examples. Royal Caribbean today, up 7%. How about Carnival? Up 7%. How about Delta Airlines? Really, only 2%? That's not that great. I would have thought that would have been more. I think UAL was better. UAL up 7%. Retail, I'll give you numbers. Costco up 12, Dillard's up 13, Five Below up 11, Lowe's up 9, Home Depot up 12. Why would Lowe's and Home Depot go up? Because they're interest rate sensitive. And as oil prices come down, yields to reflect oil prices coming down and inflation come down, so the housing bounced really strong today, and anything housing related. We're talking Home Depot, Lowe's, Williams-Sonoma, Restoration Hardware, Sherwin-Williams, which by the way is in the Dow also. What else would, as I mentioned, restaurants, Brinker International up 7, Darden up 4, Wingstop up 10, Texas Roadhouse up 5. That. And what else? Well, if oil prices come down, potential for a better economy, financials. Goldman Sachs bounces up 25. Citigroup 3. Just keep in mind that different in pricing. BlackRock 27. PNC up 5. So good day there. And then the semiconductors, because they're very economic. And because I sold my semiconductor ETF 3 days ago like a doofus, that was up 2%. Up next, what else is going on? This is the one and only Investor's Edge. So, advanced declines were strong today. Up-down volume was strong today. Foreign markets were up. The left is making fun of Trump, saying all he did was made things worse and never should have happened. The president is saying we won. His buddies and friends are celebrating. We're the unbiased ones. We just care about outcome. We are happy that oil prices are down. We are happy that they figured out tactics with the blockade. But we always have to ask the question, we're not even back to where we was. The market is, but oil prices are still way up. And Iran is denying a bunch of things the president said today. And I got to tell you, it's not that I trust Iran. As I have said to you, I don't trust a word out of Trump because he embellishes so much. We'll see how it plays out. Now, I will tell you, the president came out and said that the strait is open, but ships are not really transiting yet. But supposedly, I'm pretty sure Iran has said, yeah, we'll open it. When, we don't know. But very good outcome. We're back to the markets. I don't have much to complain about, except I sold my semiconductor ETF. I made very good gains in very short order and really thought it was really extended. It was going to pull back. Yeah. I got to tell you, the semiconductor ETF gave me a certain finger today. And you know what happens when you sell something, right? It doesn't let you back in. Oh, you know what? I sold it just 2 days ago. And I think it's up about 4% since I sold. After making 9% in 3 days. That's how crazy the semiconductors are. So, we now go into earnings season. And very simply, the market's gone coast to coast. The market has gone from the lows to not only the highs, but stretch highs. Meaning we have broken the highs. What happens next week, I have no freaking idea, except to say, if we pull back, I would not be surprised. If we pull back, I'm pretty darn sure, listen carefully, it will be controlled. In other words, it'll be not a bearish drop/pullback. It will be controlled and it will be buyable. Why do I say that? I say it because we have taken out the highs. That's why. More stocks acting better. More groups acting better. Semiconductors into highs. Financials better. Discretionary areas better. The new high list, well, the new high list is always good. You get the S&P 500 into new highs. We only had a few new highs first. Today, it really expanded. Now, of course, we remain in the most news-driven environment ever because we have the most news-driven active president ever. Let's hope on the weekend all hell doesn't break loose again. Let's just hope. I'm pretty darn sure, listen carefully, the president, Besant, I'm pretty damn sure they've sat down and said, it's time, no matter what. I'm pretty damn sure. And I gotta figure, the blockade, if Iran misbehaves, will stay. And I don't think Iran can afford that. Now, I am upset about one thing. They did it again. Before the announcement by the president, somebody traded a crap load of oil on the short side. So leave no doubt, insiders, every time of the president are trading off of this. And leave no doubt, this Justice Department will not investigate that. Leave no doubt, when the Democrats win the House, there's going to be a lot of subpoenas. I will promise you, next year is going to be funny as all hell and sad as all hell at the same time. They already subpoenaed, who they subpoena? Bondi, over the Epstein thing, and she don't want to show up, so they're going to hold her in contempt, whatever that means. The two parties, You think they've been clashing now. Wait till the Dems get the House. Happy days. Over the weekend, the new high list really picked up. Go through it, see what you can find. By the way, you know what shows up on the new high list now, out of nowhere? Hilton. Goes from the lows to the highs in 9 days. Marriott. Hotels. Lows to the highs in 9 days. That's how quick this was. Now, I know you're reading about the market and how fast this has happened and how can that be. And we had a bad jobs number. We had 0.5% GDP. You know what my answer to that is? Don't care. Don't care. We had a big confirmation day on 08, and we've had follow-through ever since. And we'll see where it takes us next. Simple as that. I think we're going higher. Simple as that. Why do I think that? Oil is still pretty much elevated, and we're at new highs in the market. And I gotta figure, if things calm down as we get farther away from this nonsense, I think oil prices will come down further. I think. But let me... On Monday, Alaska Air, Steel Dynamics. Tuesday, 3M, GE, Northern Trust, United Health. After the close Tuesday, Capital One Financial, Intuitive Surgical, United Airlines. Wednesday, Boeing in the Dow, GE Vernova. How about Elevance, CSX, IBM in the Dow, Lam Research. That's just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I have a total of 5 pages of earnings reports. That's about 360, about 400 names of the more important names reporting earnings next week. And I bring that up because Netflix was down 10% today on their earnings report. So we don't know what's going to gap up, gap down, lower guidance, raise guidance. So we have to stay on top of that. That's what we enter next week. We've already got the banks. Some acted well, some not acting well. Some gap down 40 points and get it all back like Goldman Sachs. Crazy stock. So be ready. We work a little bit longer on earnings season. We're going to have big amounts next 2 to 3 weeks. And of course, we'll continue to have a bunch of news. I suspect there's going to be some more moving parts, but I'm pretty sure this is your general Kaltbaum opinion. I'm pretty damn sure neither party wants to go backwards now. Pretty damn sure. Let them both take the win. I couldn't give a crap. We care about outcome. And we'll let the pundits go back and forth on why and what and this is bad, that is bad, and all that. That's going to be fun. We'll continue to be unbiased as unbiased can be. Again, there's not a one that we like. Actually, 1 or 2 in the one party. Hey, up next, news of the day, whatever else. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. Welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Yeah, I got some emails saying Trump is playing 3D chess while others are playing checkers. Before the blockade, believe me, there was no 3D chess. But it ended up pretty good, it looks like, so far. Hey, in the news, something stuck out for me. You know, unfortunately, we have some very socialist, Marxist, communist goofballs running cities and some states. They love your money. They never have enough money. And when they run out of money, they go into debt. California is running a big deficit with the highest taxes in the country, basically. Florida is running a surplus with no state tax. Interesting, huh? But you would think that California would say, maybe we're not doing something right, that Florida is, but they'll never do that because they want your money. In case you don't know, in New York City, you pay real estate taxes. But now they were able to get the governor, who promised no more taxes, to agree for New York City to do a tax on the wealthy. In other words, if you are worth too much money and you have a house worth so-and-so, but you also have a place so-and-so, we're adding a tax onto your place, even though you're already paying real estate taxes. And of course, they're targeting the very wealthy people. And I watched this guy, Mandami, this racist, anti-Semitic, Jew-hating, Israel-hating scumbag. By the way, I'd say that to his face. He's on video. You would have thought he just won the lottery. He was so happy. And it was, we're coming to get you. With a big smile on his face. And then he named Ken Griffin, who is a big hedge fund billionaire. And I'm thinking to myself, you're targeting a name and a person, an American, a taxpayer, on video as the New York City mayor? And I said this yesterday, but I wanted to say it again. They're all going to sell their places and leave. If they can sell, because who the hell's going to want to move there? If all these places, all these states and cities keep telling the citizens, we're going to tax the hell out of you if you make too much money, well, why would anybody who, quote unquote, make too much money ever move there? It's amazing to watch. And I've seen it firsthand. I live in Florida. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen a swath of people who are able, if able, moved here. We're reading about athletes moving from high-tax states to low-tax states. And then you're hearing about how, now they're going to save, over the life of their contract, $27 million. By the way, that's hard dollars. And then they get shamed for moving. It's amazing to watch. And the chasm between places just keep rising. Here in Florida, there's a move afoot to get rid of real estate taxes. In New York City, well, they want to raise it on top of already real estate taxes. Of course, if you're wealthy, to pay for their whatever. And in case you don't know, in New York City, they want to build a supermarket, a free supermarket, whatever. They're saying it's going to cost $30 million and take 3 years. And I'm reading to open a supermarket, it takes $2 million and 6 months. Welcome to government. And by the way, how's a free supermarket going to work? Somebody want to explain that to me? Do they think all these companies that provide the products, yeah, we're just going to give it to you for free? Yeah, because we like you so much? Is that what they think? Socialism, Marxism, communism never works. Yet we really have a bunch of them in here in the States, and they are being elected. They're being elected. And I got news for you, because the Republicans suck. They've gone towards socialism and debt and deficits. It's an easier sell for the Marxists, communists, and socialists. I should have ran a long time ago. Then again, I don't know if anybody can get anything done these days. $1.3 trillion of our tax dollars going towards interest this year. 1.3. You know what $1.3 trillion can do for this country that now goes towards interest? I still have hope. You know why I have hope? Because of us. I have zero hope because of them. And unfortunately, they be running us into the ground. We'll keep working our asses off, doing better for ourselves and our family, trying to have upward mobility. They keep taking out a mallet and hitting us over the head and taking out a machete and cutting us off at the knees, while making themselves very wealthy. On that positive note, have a great weekend. Drive carefully. I'll be watching little WrestleMania. And when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family, hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Thanks for joining. And let's hope the war is over. Good night, all. Bye-bye.